Howdy, Homo sapiens. I want to talk about the two types of people in America. And actually, they aren't liberals and conservatives. I believe the most significant categories of people are open-minded versus closed-minded people. And there are plenty of closed-minded people on both the right and the left. Trust me, I've talked to plenty of them. So how do you know which one you are? Whether you're open-minded or closed-minded on a topic is determined simply by how you respond to evidence that is contrary to your opinion. Whether it is something you read, hear, or see, things like polls, statistics, studies, or accounts, any evidence that points away from your opinion. Closed-mindedness just means that you are unable to or unwilling to consider contrary evidence. You respond to contrary evidence with irritation, apprehension, or even hostility. You dismiss it the moment you come upon it. Open-mindedness means you respond to contrary evidence very differently. You respond to it with curiosity. You aren't threatened by it because you see it as a potential opportunity to refine your opinion in order to more closely align it with reality. Contrary evidence can serve as a check on our inevitably flawed perception of reality. So why are we closed-minded? We're closed-minded because we like to think we have the world figured out. Think about it. The world is a ridiculously complicated place. It takes a lot of effort to gain any real understanding of any subject. Moral issues are rarely black and white with lots of room for interpretation. Sticking to our guns on our opinions is a very safe and effortless way to maintain the belief that we understand the world. There's a lot of security in that. If we have the world figured out, we can see the bad things that threaten us in advance and we can protect ourselves. There's something scary about being open. It feels vulnerable, and we certainly don't like that. And it just really sucks to admit we're wrong, even to ourselves. It's embarrassing, it's degrading. We feel stupid, foolish, or gullible. And there's an inherent implication that we might be wrong about other things. That's kind of scary. I have a lot of experience debating with hardcore Christians about things like gay marriage and evolution. I learned long ago about the tendency of denial of people with strong religious convictions as facts crash and break against their reinforced beliefs. Fundamentalist religious sects often produce believers who are very close-minded. The faith offers a clear roadmap to the world, usually contained in a simple reading of their religious texts, a way to circumvent the potential pitfalls and wrong turns in the pursuit of truth. They are confident that they got things figured out. When they encounter a problem between their faith and a fact, it's a challenge to the infallibility of their holy book, their perfect instruction booklet on how to interpret the world. If they admit that it's wrong about one thing, then they are left with a very uncomfortable question. What else might it be wrong about? Most times it's easier for them to not even go there by rejecting any evidence that contradicts the Bible. I've come to realize that this isn't just religious people. We all want to have a belief map of the world. We all want to know who are the good guys and who are the bad guys. We want to think that we have a well-functioning moral compass. And most importantly, that we, of course, are one of the good guys. So many of us adopt a prepackaged worldview that provides positions on every major issue, even though most of these issues like abortion, climate change, and gun control have literally nothing to do with one another. These worldviews tend to fall in the binary categories of either liberal or conservative. And they come not only with the positions on every major issue, but complete with ready-to-use talking points to defend them. We aren't tricked into believing these things, but as soon as we identify as a liberal or a conservative, we tend to surround ourselves with people who believe like us. Very rarely do any of us have the time or energy to do a deep, objective investigation weighing the evidence of both sides of the debate. So when we come across something that contradicts our belief system, just like the hardcore religious folks, we are left with the same uncomfortable question. If we were wrong about that, what else might our worldview be wrong about? This creates incentive to reject anything that challenges us. Now, all of us have some topics that we're completely open-minded about. In fact, broadly speaking, I'd say most topics. Usually these are topics that we simply don't care about. We have no stake in the game, no identity invested. These are topics in which we revise our opinion when we learn something new with no effort at all. Take, say, the Great Wall of China. Maybe you learned that it was 10,000 miles long. You heard that somewhere and filed it away. One day you're talking to a friend who just got back from a trip to China. They mention that the wall is, in fact, 13,171 miles. Now, I suppose you might somehow have your identity wrapped up in the length of the Great Wall of China, like you were part of, the 10,000 Milers Facebook group and you go to protests holding a sign with a big 10K pointed on it, but probably not. Most likely you'll just be like, I thought it was 10,000. Interesting. And then you'll modify your opinion without thinking about it. You might Google it to check it, but you wouldn't get irritated. You would be open-minded. You would be rational. But if there's a subject that you're passionate about, especially something where your stance is part of your identity, that's a whole different experience when you come upon contrary evidence. Most of us in those situations find it unpleasant to be confronted with anything that goes against our opinion or position. And if it's particularly strong evidence, there's an inherent feeling of humiliation that makes it worse. It's extremely hard to be open-minded about a subject that we feel passionate about. We've invested time and energy and a piece of ourselves in the position. To go back in and change our direction is just too much for our egos to bear. So we frown, simply bat it aside, and keep on the path we were on. This is not good, and it happens all the time. When we come upon evidence or facts that contradict our opinion, that's an opportunity for us. It's an opportunity with one of two outcomes, and both are good. Either A, we can test our opinion against the new evidence, and it's crucial that we do this honestly and objectively, as hard as that is, or B, we can modify or reverse our position to align it more closely with reality. The goal for all of us should be to have an internal reality that resembles external reality as closely as possible. Why the hell would we want anything else? Just to feel right? To appear right to others? Personally, I'd rather see the world clearly, even if it means that everyone thinks I'm wrong and ignorant. I wouldn't enjoy being regarded as ignorant, but I will take that over maintaining a distorted opinion any day of the week. The next time you come upon a fact that contradicts your belief, just pause. Take inventory of how you're feeling in the moment. Are you anxious, irritated, or angry? That's your mind armoring up to protect your belief. That's your mind closing right in front of you. It doesn't have to be this way. If you want to be open-minded, look at this as an opportunity. Julia Galef, an intellectual that I follow, has a great way of looking at belief. She looks at her belief on a sliding scale of certainty. Learning a new fact that contradicts her belief doesn't necessarily make her abandon it altogether, but it makes her go down on the scale of certainty that her belief is true. The more evidence against her belief, the less certainty. The more evidence she learns that supports her belief, the more certainty. This creates a flexible and dynamic way to update her beliefs and makes it easier to stay open to evidence because it's not all or none. It's a scale of certainty. Unfortunately, nowadays we're primed to regard our beliefs as either all or none because identity tends to be binary. We either fully support or fully reject something. But this predisposes us to be closed-minded, and closed-mindedness is an epidemic fueling the division in America right now. Look at it this way. When we learn that we're wrong, we're one step closer to the truth. We can cross off a dead-end path on our worldview and not waste any more time believing falsities. We just got to get over our ego. I used to be much more this. But now I'm this. Eventually, I hope to get to this. But what do you think? Do you consider yourself open-minded? If so, how do you deal with exposure to evidence that's contrary to your belief? Let me know below. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, stay doubtful. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video or found it useful, please drop a like. And if you'd like to see more, please subscribe. There's a lot more to explore.